Hey everyone, it's Brad Hornby here. I gotta say it's significant Flames news here, although it's warranted that talking about our general manager, Brad Treliving, recently signed a multi-year extension to remain general manager of the Calgary Flames here. Unlike players that, for example, Brad Treliving signs to, we know the term and dollar value for players, but you know, really, it's hard to find dollar value in term about how much NHL general managers make and even head coaches here. But it's definitely warranted overall that I feel that Brad Treliving deserves another multi-year extension with the Calgary Flames. I mean, they're saying that this is his sixth season with the Calgary Flames, but I'm really counting this as his fifth full season, because I mean he was hired with the Calgary Flames after he spent, I believe, 7 seasons with the Phoenix Coyotes organization before they got rebranded as the Arizona Coyotes, where he was the assistant general manager there under Don Maloney, who now Don Maloney is here in Calgary as the senior vice president here. But Brad Treliving was brought in late April 2014. That was after when Jay Feaster was general manager, after when Jay Feaster replaced Darryl Sutter, and then we brought in Brian Burke as the the president of hockey operations there, and then he did his evaluation, and ultimately, I felt it was a shock at the time, but it was warranted when Jay Feaster was let go and Brian Burke was the acting general manager, but he brought in Brad Treliving after tender of Darryl Sutter and Jay Feaster, and I'm going to say things have looked better for the Flames organization since then, because ever since Darryl Sutter, when he first came in as the Calgary Flames head coach, he turned the team around and then eventually took dual roles, and as they did okay managing, but then, towards the end of his tenure, it was definitely time for him to go, especially when he spent more time as general manager and coach, and then Jay Feaster was brought in as the assistant general manager, and then eventually the Flames asked Darryl to resign, and Jay Feaster became the general manager, and while he did some okay drafting late, but I just say it was the Ryan O'Reilly debacle and not getting enough for Jerome McGinley and Jay Billmeister when it was finally time to rebuild, that ultimately I think sealed Jay Feaster's fate. But Brad Treliving, when you think about it, he has overseen 14, 15, 18, 6 drafts, starting in 2014 there, where we drafted Sam Bennett at that time. Was definitely the player that was ready to be drafted, and he's still here in the organization. And other big draft picks that Brad Treliving brought in was Matthew Tkachuk in the first round in 2016. I think he slipped a little, so he fell in our lap, and he definitely pounced on that opportunity to get him. But I'm going to say Brad Treliving's definitely done a great job at not only drafting, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, and then Yusuf Al-Maki, unfortunately with his injury. So we got 3 guys that he drafted in the first round that has already played games with these guys and are still looked upon highly, or still refining their game in Sam Bennett's case, but he's still a very useful player for what he drafted him for other than the offense, but it's easier to score in junior. But then it comes to asset management, where in 2015 we got Dougie Hamilton in the trade, but remember, we looked like we were maybe sellers because Calgary wasn't sure if they were buying or selling or going to make the playoffs. So I remember when we traded Curtis Glencross, he got a second and third round pick when he went to Washington there, and all he did was he played with Washington in their playoff run, and then Curtis Glencross wasn't, or I think he retired basically after that season. I think he was given other offers and he didn't like them, or he was faced with either going to Europe, but he wanted to retire and live around this area here. So we got 2 picks for him. And then also we traded Sven Baertschi. Remember Sven Mania there? We traded him for a second-round pick, and then Calgary had, abundance of picks there. So with those couple seconds and our own first, we got Dougie Hamilton. And then that second-round pick turned out to be Rasmus Andersson that we traded for Sven Baertschi. And also getting Andre Mangiapane. And also the fact that with those extra picks, we were able to wheel and deal and draft Oliver Shillington in 2015 there. And those 3 guys are all with the Flames organization, and they were on the opening day roster. And even in 2018, he did a little bit of a Darryl Sutter there, but not as much of a gambler, where we traded away some picks to get Travis Hamonic. But even guys like Martin Pospisil and Adam Ruzicka, it's still too early to judge the 2018 draft class here in 2019. But Martin Pospisil and Adam Ruzicka looked like guys that were ready to have progressed and drafted in the 4th round. And they were in Stockton, and they looked pretty good in training camp there. Plus guys like Luke Phillip, Matthew Phillips, and Glenn Godwin, guys we drafted or signed as free agents, or same with Dylan Dubé, who we traded 3 picks for at deadline. So asset management, definitely, we've been better at drafting, asset management. The only knock that I would have on Brad Treliving, but you can find any general manager in the league, even if some think like, Rutherford, and he was Pittsburgh, now Carolina, or he was in Carolina, now in Pittsburgh, Jim Rutherford, or, Lou Lamoriello, who spent a lot of time with the New Jersey Devils and was with Toronto for their rebuild, and then he went to the New York Islanders, and so far has done wonders there. Or David Poile, who's been the only general manager that the Nashville Predators has had. And actually, he was the assistant general manager here in Calgary before the national job. So it's very significant that, we decided to keep Brad Treliving here. I think overall he's done a great job. The only knock I have is the free agency. I think getting guys like Micah Frolik, all things considered, has been a good free agent signing, and he found David Riddick overseas, and so far is looking good there. But unfortunately, guys like Mason Raymond, Troy Brower, those are definitely swing and misses that we had to buy out. James Neal, however, we were able to find a dance partner in Edmonton to saying, well, we're stuck paying over $5.5 million. We were able to get Milan Lucic, and we'll see how that plays out. But every general manager has trades or signings you look back and might regret here. But I'm going to say under Brad Treliving, hopefully we can break this pattern of in, out, in, out, in for playoffs here. But, within parts of 6 seasons with the Flames here, we've gone from rebuilding after we decided it was time to move on from Jerome McGinley and Jay Bomeister and Kipper retiring to, after last season, we're this close to, are we Stanley Cup contenders? And it's nice now that we're getting players that we draft that actually make the organization make an impact. And definitely this past season, I have to say, was somewhat challenging to fight off, how to keep everyone together without shaking the tree too much. As a term that Pierre McGuire, I remember, used one time, and that's what the Flames did back in 2010 when Darryl was still in charge, when we traded away Dion Phaneuf and Ole Jokinen. Gone the days where we trade away guys for second round picks and a prospect and for an aging forward that didn't pan out or we have a guy that we like that we don't resign, but then a couple years later we reacquire them when they're older and more expensive. That seemed to have been the way under Sutter and Feaster, but Brad Treliving's definitely evolved to being, a guy who can manage our assets and stay within the cap. I mean, we've had some buyouts, but I mean, it happens. It's cost of doing business. Someone might just not fit in here, or sometimes Father Time hits pretty quickly. I mean, Jaromir Jagr. It was exciting and surreal when we brought in Jaromir Jagr here, but before he played the third of the season that he was at the Flames, he was still scoring 15 goals and 45 points and playing every game. I mean, you might look back and say we probably should have brought him in training camp and got him up to game shape, or maybe let him swallow his pride and say, we'll give you a professional tryout to get used to and see if we'll sign you. And then I think he might have been a little better, but Father Time even caught up with Jagr, and he's a fitness freak. But, I'm definitely happy with the Flames keeping Brad Treliving on as general manager. Keeps us stability here. I mean, the jury's still out on the coaching decision. I mean, he inherited Bob Hartley, and then when we got into the playoffs and got to the second round in 2015, and Bob Hartley won the Jack Adams Award, you were kind of forced to have to resign him. That was Feaster's decision. But then we re-signed him, and then he decided to let him go after the next season where he regressed. And then he brought in Glenn Galdson, who we made the playoffs in 2017, but I still think we made the playoffs because we played catch-up well in December and won 10 games in a row in March there to get back in the race, and then unfortunately bowed to the Ducks there, and then we were looking good up until major injuries there, and then we fell at the race there, and Glenn Galdson took the sword there, but I felt that was the right move at the time there, and everyone was not happy, or as many people were ready to jump off the bridge on Bill Peters there, and I'm going to still say that's a risk that Brad Treliving made when we decided to let Glenn Galdson go and bring in Bill Peters. I mean, Carolina was restructuring with Tom Dunn in there, and we already got out the general manager, and Bill Peters figured, well, I'm probably going to be let go anyway, so I might as well voluntarily step down, knowing there was an opportunity here in Calgary. And I mean, the first year was definitely an overwhelming success minus the playoffs, but we still got a young core here, and we have many guys of our core that are locked up for a few more years, like Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, Matthew Tkachuk, Michael Backlund, and got Reddit signed, and Bennett signed, and we'll see if Milan Lucic can resurrect his career here, and still got Gio for a couple more years. So what do you take on it? I mean, overall, it's still say it's a great move, and you just going on about all what Brad Treliving has done for the Calgary Flames. I mean, he's been very approachable and answers questions to the media. He's not. He's been even keeled this whole time, and also I think Jim Treliving, if you watch the Dragon's Den, his dad is on that show, and I'm gonna say, hopefully I'm sure he's proud of what Brad's done with the Calgary Flames, and still looks like he's one of the younger up and coming general managers that maybe, he'll still be here 20 years from now or retiring, all the accomplishments he made, because I think the best general manager that the Calgary Flames have had was Cliff Fletcher, and he was brought in as general manager of the Flames when they started in Atlanta, and now he's in the Hall of Fame as a builder. I mean, he built the Flames, kept building the Flames when we moved to Calgary, and led us to the Stanley Cup win, and then I think he got Chorus to Toronto there, and then, yeah, he did fleece us big time in that Gilmore trade, but that's another story there. But, Brad Treliving, he's definitely proven that he's, a smart general manager and worthy of keeping around here. The only thing that I just say that has been a hit miss with him is free agency, and I think slowly, maybe he's starting to realize that let's not cave in too much in the free agency, and it's supposed to supplement our team, and let's focus on guys that we bring in and develop those. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, mostly talk Calgary sports here, and do throw in a personal blog there or a few scenery videos. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and start of the 2019-20 NHL season is underway here, so there'll be more game recaps, and hopefully it'll be another fun season recapping the Flames and go further in the playoffs, and maybe Brad Treliving will put on his resume that I led the Flames, I built the Calgary Flames to win the Stanley Cup, maybe a few times on his resume. I can dream, but this multi-years extension is a start, and it's warranted. So go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video.